Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining me. This is your host, Untitled Chapter. Welcome back to Normany 44 by GMT Games. So, we're getting to the point in our regular campaign game where we're going to enter combat and we're going to start having units attacking one another. And before we did that, I thought instead of stopping every 2 minutes to talk about a combat rule or something, I would just go ahead and outline combat in its own special video here. Again, I am certainly not an expert at Normany 44. I'm trying to learn it as best as I can, watching some videos, reading through the rules and such, but this is kind of my interpretation of the rules. If I get anything wrong, be sure to let me know. But hopefully we'll get it all right and kind of outline combat for you, because there's quite a lot to talk about. So I'm in the Vassal module here, and I've got some specific combat scenarios set up so that we can kind of demonstrate some of the things we're going to talk about. So the most important thing is obviously you can attack from multiple different hexes and attack a hex location. So you can attack from multiple hexes to do this. And when you do this, what you're going to do is, as the attacker, you are going to pick what they call the MAF, or the Main Assault Force. So the Main Assault Force is defined as a division, your regiment, your brigade, and your battalions. And if two or more regiments, brigades, or battalions from the same division take part in the same battle, then they all count as the same formation, the same division, basically. So what am I talking about here? On these counters, you can see along the left-hand side here, it's got the division symbol up in the top left-hand corner, and it also tells you that it's the 91st Division. This unit is part of the third unit of the 157th Brigade of the 91st Division. And you can see the same thing down here. This is the 157th. Yeah, the 157th. What is the three lines again? The three lines. I'll get these down sooner or later. Regiment. There we go. It's going to be a regiment. So this is going to be the 157th Regiment of the 91st Division. Okay, so you must pick an assault, your main assault force. So in this case, we would decide we're going to attack with the 91st Division there. So anybody that's part of the 91st Division can attack, and they will attack at full strength. Anybody else from your non-main attack force only attacks at half strength. So if you had, say, if this unit was over here participating in this fight, he's from the 352nd Division, so he would only count for half of his firepower because he's not part of the main assault force. So keeping your units together that are working from the same division, obviously very important to be able to do that, because you want to get as much combat strength out of your units as possible. The other thing with selecting your main attack force is you can assign any one unit temporarily to be part of your main assault force, as long as it's stacked with one of your units in your main assault force. So what am I saying here? This 100th Panzer, what's the two lines again? The two lines is going to be battalion. Yeah, I'll get these down sooner or later. Maybe. I don't know. So the 100th Panzer Battalion, I'm going to have a cheat sheet out in front of me, I swear, is it's not stacked with any of the 91st Division, so he's not getting his orders from them. So he would, if he attacked, he would be at half strength. But if he was stacked with anybody that was with the 91st, either in this hex, or he could actually be in this hex, whichever, he would count full, because he can attach that unit temporarily to that division. So he would count as full strength. So you want to decide this. You want to try and keep your divisions kind of together, working together, because otherwise you're going to, when you do attacks, you're going to lose out on half of your combat strength. So again, any one unit doesn't have to be a silhouette. It can be, this unit here could be stacked with these guys. And in this case, we would, and this guy, is not part of the fight at this point. So we would assign our main attack forces 91st Division, and we would get the full strength of that, and then we would assign this second unit of the 214th Brigade of the 352nd Division. We would temporarily assign him, and he would give us his full combat strength. So deciding and maneuvering our units around is part of the game, but also understanding this is kind of a main concept in getting powerful attacks. You can't just throw units like other games out there. You can't just throw them up against the wall here and just say, well, whoever's there is just going to attack. So it's very important that if you're designing and moving your units around, you're designing it so that your main assault force, you're thinking about who's going to be the main assault force and who's going to be stacked with them, and how much value are they going to be to that unit, as opposed to going over and maybe supporting a different unit for their attack. So, it's very important for that. Okay, another thing is if you have, put this back where it was, put this together. So again, 91st Division, 4 strength there, and 2 strength from the tank, because we're assigning that tank part of the 91st Division because it's stacked with it. And so you would calculate your strength up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 versus the defender strength of 4. So, and then we'll get to defensive bonuses here in a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. You can also have what they call a battle group. So a battle group is just any 3 units in a hex or a stack, or I guess it could be more than 3, but any units in a stack that total 6 attack strength or less. So you can see here we have a unit from the 709th Division, we got a unit from the 243rd Division, we got a unit from the 352nd Division. So these units, because they're all stacked together and they're in one hex, they can form a battle group, and they will fight at full strength as long as they have 6 attack power or less. And if they are part of a group that is also attacking, they must be the main assault force if you decide to attack with other units besides these. So if these units were over here, and these units in this hex, and this unit in this hex, we're going to attack. These guys, to become a battle group, must be the main assault force. And then these units would only, obviously, supply half of their combat factors. So again, combat and defense are both the first number down here at the bottom. So in this case, a 2, a 2, and a 2. So again, think about that. If you're going to create battle groups for miscellaneous units running around the map, you can do that. So again, if we had this major attack down here from the Americans, he would have to decide. He's got a couple units from the 101st. He's got another unit from the 101st. He has a tank over here. He's got units from the 82nd. So he would have to decide, is the 101st going to be the main assault group, or is the 82nd going to be the main assault group? Or this might actually deter how he is going to do things. Maybe he's going to decide not to include the 101st in this attack because they're only going to count a half strength. So maybe instead, the player is going to use the 101st to maybe do their own attack against one of these other units. Again, with this unit not stacked with anybody, he can't be temporarily assigned as part of the main attack force. Again, if he is part of the unit, the division that is part of the main attack force, then he can be temporarily assigned. You can only do that with one unit, one and only one unit. So you can't just temporarily assign, well, this guy's over here as well. No, it has to be just one unit, and it has to be stacked with somebody in the division that's going to be in the main assault force. And again, basically what you're going to do is count up your firepower, and then you're going to count up your defensive power, and then you're going to come up with a ratio, and you're going to use that ratio on the CRT. The worst it can be is 1 to 3 odds. The best it can ever get is 7 to 1 odds. And there is a combat limit of 18 factors. So the most you can ever get is 18 factors. So if you ever count up all your units and you have, say, 24, the most you can ever get is 18 out of that. Now that is after all of your modifications, because you will lose some of your combat strength due to different things. And that is going to half your values. So things that will cause you to lose half of your firepower. Let's see, I think I have this one set up. Where is it? Over here? Yeah. So things that will cause you to lose half your firepower are, there's a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. Attacks across a major or minor river or flooded hex side. So if these units here are going to attack these German units over here, they're going to be attacking across this river hex side. This is kind of a bad example because there actually is a bridge there. So let's put them down here. All right. So let's redo that. So now he's attacking across this river here. There's no road, so there's no bridge. So he's going to lose half of his combat factors. And it's very important to understand how this works as well, because it's a little bit different. You don't just add up all the values and take half of it. So in this case, in some hex encounter games, you just go 3, 4, 5, 10, 13, half of 13, 6.5. We round that up to 7. In this game, what you do is you half each of them and round up individually. So the first unit is a 3, 1.5, round up to 2. The second one is a 2, which would be a 1. The 5, again, would be 2.5, rounded up to 3. And the 3 would be a 1.5, rounded up to 2. So you would get 2, 3, 6, 8 firepower from this attack, instead of a normal attack of, let's see, 3, 5, 10, 13. Halved would be 6.5, which you would either get 3 or 6 or 7 in normal games if you round up or round down. So in this game, you always round them individually and then round up. So a unit that's 1 is always going to attack with 1, because half of 1 is a half, round up is 1. So even if they're rounding. Now the other good thing about Normandy 44 is units can only be halved one time and one time only. So if they get halved for any reason, you don't have to worry about any other modifiers, because they're not going to be halved again. So if these units are all attacking from, say, a different division, and because they're not part of the main attack force, so they would be halved, right? In that case, attacking over the river isn't going to matter because they're already halved. So once they're halved, that's the worst they can ever be. All right, so attacking across a major or minor river or a flooded hex side, halves your value. Attacking out of a flooded hex, not into a flooded hex. So these units over here are in a flooded hex here. If we take these off and put it back on, you can see these units are in a flooded hex. So if the Germans attack out of the flooded hex, they will be at half firepower. If the Americans attacking into the flooded hex do not get halved. So just attacking out of a flooded hex, not into a flooded hex. Any Allied reinforcements that arrive, the turn they arrive, are automatically at half combat power automatically. Any units attacking across the Cherbourg perimeter, so any Allied units that attack across this perimeter boundary are automatically halved. Any units that's marked without a supply counter, and any unit that we already talked about is not part of the main attack force is halved. So again, if we had, let's see here, see if I can set up something really quickly here. Yeah, let's just move these guys out of there, move these, and yeah, we'll bring these guys over here, right? And we'll bring these guys here. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so the British player is going to attack this German player here. He's going to use this stack of units and these stack of units over here. And he decides he's going to use the 3rd Infantry Division as the main attack force. And he's going to temporarily assign this British, brigade, tank brigade, I think it is. So he's going to get 6 firepower, 6 firepower, and 3 firepower. Now these guys over here are not part of the main assault force, so they're only going to get halved. So again, 5.5, or 5 halved would be 2.5, round them up to 3. And then the tank halved would be 1.5, round up to 2. So 3 plus 2 would be 5. If in normal game, a normal hex encounter game, if you just add those together, 5 plus 3 is 8. Half of 8 would be 4. You would be ripping yourself off of points. So make sure you do count through each unit individually. Now, because they're already been halved, attacking across this river does not halve them again. So you can just calculate it once and not have to worry about attacking across the river. And these are things you should think about when you're positioning and moving your units around the map. You know, is it ultra important that you get across the river, right? Is it ultra important that you spend an extra point to get across the river, so that you don't take the river penalty? But then you end up losing half firepower anyways because they're not part of your main assault force. So in this case, no, it's not. It's not that important because you're going to talk just as good here as you can over here because you're still going to be halved for not being part of the main assault force. All right, so those are the things, again, attacking across the major or minor river or a flooded hex side will halve you. Attacking out of a flooded hex, not into a flooded hex. All Allied reinforcements, the turn they arrive, are halved. Any Allied unit attacking across the Cherbourg perimeter. Any unit that's marked out of supply. And all units attacking that are not part of the main assault force. All right, let's talk about defensive combat bonus. So the way defensive combat bonus works in this game is you use the terrain effects chart for whatever terrain the unit is in, and they're going to get a bonus to their defensive strength. So let's say in mixed strength, we'll just take this unit right here, take him off the map. He's in mixed. In mixed, he would get a +2 defensive combat bonus. So this unit would get 2 plus 2, he would be 4. Now there is a caveat to that, in that the most you can get as a bonus is equal to your combat strength. So you can see Bocage here is 3 defensive combat bonus. If this unit was in Bocage, let's say this unit was down here, and the British player was going to attack him, let's say from here, this unit would only get a +2 because that is the most his combat strength is. It doesn't matter if there's multiple units in there. It's just the value of the best defensive unit in there. Now, if, for example, this unit, this anti-tank weapon was there, he has attack strength of 3 that he can use defensively. If the British were attacking, then you would add 3 to the combat bonus because this unit has a defensive strength of 3. So in this case, you would get the 3 bonus for bocage, and you just add that to do the defensive strength. So in this case, 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3 for the bocage is going to equal 8. The combat strength of these units is 5. 5 to 8 is going to be a 1 to 2 on the combat table. And then what you're going to do is you're going to apply some combat shifts. There's only a few combat shifts you have to worry about. So let's talk about them. All right. First of all, we'll talk about the armor shift. So any armor unit, most of them are silhouetted, will have a gray box that shows that they have a armor rating on them. There are some that have a red box, and the red box with the yellow number is not showing that they have armor. This is an anti-armor weapon. So there's a big difference between the gray box with the white and the red box with the yellow number, in that the main purpose of these units are to deny the enemy the armor bonus. So let's go over what happens if we have an attack. So first thing I'm going to do is just move this out of the way. So you can see here we have 2 German units. They are 2 mechanized regiments of the 21st Division. I hope I got that right. Anyways, and you can see they do not have any kind of anti-tank coloring or numbering or anything. So when this unit attacks, strength of 6, strength of 6, strength of 3, that's a 15 attack, 12 defense, plus 2 for the mixed is 14. So that's going to be a 1-to-1. So you get those odds ratios down, and then we earn the column shifts. One of the column shifts, again, is armor. So if the attacker has an armor and the defender does not have any armor, it will give them a shift to the right, so making it better for their... So instead of a 2-to-1, it'll go to a 3-to-1, or a 3-to-1 to a 4-to-1, or 4-to-1 to a 5-to-1. So that's the first thing. If both sides have armor rating, let's say now we're doing this attack here. If both sides have an armor rating, then you compare the best armor rating for the attacker and the best armor rating for the defender. If the main assault force has a higher rated armor than the defender, then they get the shift. If it's equal to or less, in this case it would be a 3 versus a 3, so this would deny the attacker the armor shift bonus. This would also deny the armor shift bonus if these guys were attacking. The red and the yellow will never earn you an attack armor shift bonus. This is only there to deny, as a defender, the armor shift for your opponent. So if these Germans were attacking these units over here, because they have a higher one, it doesn't matter at all. First of all, this guy can't attack because he's in brackets, so he couldn't be part of the attack. But those numbers are not for attack purposes. If we were to say put this guy over here, right, and these Germans are attacking the British, this wouldn't even be a you can't earn a even if this unit wasn't there. So it's just these 2 infantry units. This again is an anti-tank weapon, and we're attacking. Well, he can't attack anyways because he's got a bracket as well. So that's kind of a bad example anyways. But anyways, I think you get what I'm trying to say there. If you are the attacker, the enemy, the units you're attacking do not have any armor at all, you automatically will get the bonus no matter what the value is. And if they do have either a red box or a gray box as the defender, then you're going to compare the best from the main assault force to the defenders. And if this is higher, then they get the shift. If it's not higher, they do not get the shift. And that'll come into play when the German player gets to use his Panther tanks and Tiger tanks. Tiger tanks will have an attack strength of 5, and Panther tanks will have an attack strength of 4, which I believe is going to be both higher than anything the British have. All right, and if defender can earn an armor shift bonus if these British are attacking the German player here. The attacker will suffer a column shift to the left if he has no units with an armor rating, and the defender has a gray boxed armor rating unit. So in this case, the British are attacking. They don't have any armor. The defending units do. So this will earn a shift to the left as the defender earns the armor shift bonus. Again, if this was here, get out of there. Either one of those, they do not get that defensive shift bonus. This is not a gray box, so you don't get that armor shift bonus. Only when you have a gray box unit as a defender, and the attacker doesn't. So the attacker has to think about that when they're trying to decide about their attacks or not. They're going to get an armor shift bonus there because we don't have any armor, or if you have lower quality armor, you wouldn't get that bonus either. In fact, if we pull out the German Panther tank here for a minute, right? So if this was the attack, the British player attacking the German player, you would compare, and in this case, the German player has better unit, so he denies the British player the combat shift bonus. But if it was reverse and the German player was attacking, the German player would get the armor shift bonus because his unit's better than the defender unit. So that's how the armor shift works. Okay, it's a little bit confusing with the anti-tank weapons being thrown in there, but hopefully you understand how that all works. There is certain terrain that will nullify armor shift bonuses as well. If you're attacking across a major river or a flooded hex side, so these hex sides like here. So if you're attacking across this flooded hex side, you wouldn't be able to get the armor shift bonus there, or any of the major rivers. So if we were here and here, across this major river, you wouldn't get the armor shift bonus in that situation either. Attacking into or out of a flooded hex. So if we go back to our flooded hex example over here, in this case, German player is attacking into a flooded hex, the American player is attacking into a flooded hex. So they would not get the armor shift bonus because this is like that. And let's see if we do something like this. Again, doesn't matter who's attacking, neither player is going to get armor shift bonuses. Doesn't matter if there's both tanks in there because the terrain overrides any shift bonus. Attacking across the Cherbourg Peninsula again, so attacking across this, you would not get this brownish dashed line there, you would not get a bonus. And attacking into a city or woods hex, not a town hex, just a city hex. And the city hex is, does it actually show us a picture of the city hexes now? So city or wood hexes, again, if we're set up like this, American player is trying to shoot in this hex, he would be automatically denied, even if that wasn't there. The armor shift because of the terrain. And attacking into a hex containing an improved position also denies the armor shift bonus as well. So that's one thing you can earn a shift for. Another thing you can earn a shift for is troop quality. Again, troop quality is that little number kind of in the middle on the right hand side. You can see the +1 and the +1. So there's two ways to earn this. If the attacker has the best troop quality in the main assault force and is better than all of the other troop quality ratings of the defenders, then the attacker receives a favorable shift to the right column. So, let's see, where did I have this one set up? Somewhere. I probably moved it. Yeah, let's look at this here. So these two British bearers are attacking this unit here. We'll throw in this unit and this unit as well. That's fine. So the troop quality for the Germans are -1, 0, and -1. The British units in this main assault force is going to be the 6th Division. In that is a +1, and that quality is better than any of the units that the defender has, whether any of them. So he would earn a shift. And the defender gains a column shift if all of the participating units in an attack have a quality rating of -1 or worse. So a minus rating, -1 or -2 of all of them. So if the German player was attacking the British player in this case, the British player could earn a combat shift in his favor if all of the units have a -1 or -2. Now, because we have that 0 in there, 0 is denying the British player that combat shift. But if for whatever reason that unit wasn't in there and the German player was attacking with a -1 and a -1, then the British player would earn a column shift to the left because all the attacking units have a -1 or a -2. So any one good unit, again, this is going to be part of the strategy when you're moving your units around, is making sure you keep one good unit in with some of your other units, because you don't want to have that defender earning those bonus shifts. So in this case, the British player has better quality than all of the defending units. So in case if he was to attack, the British player would earn a shift to the right. And if the German player was, let's see here. Let's see, can we find another roll quality unit here? Here's one right there. If the German player was attacking, since they're all -1 or -2s, the British player would earn 1 defensively as well. But again, better strategy for the German is to keep one just 0 unit in there, keep him alive as long as possible, to deny the defender those extra column shifts. And of course, you're talking about artillery combat shifts as well. There is, so your headquarters, if we look at our headquarter units here, so this would be a headquarter unit. If your headquarter unit is within 5 hexes, 1, 2, 3. So we'll say let's see here. So the German player is launching an assault. He's going to use these units, and these units are going to attack these American units here. It's within 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away from the headquarters. So the German player can spend a command point, or I guess it's yeah, I think they're called command points. I forget what they're actually called. Are these called, they're not called replacement points. I think they're called command points. I'm learning too many different games at the same time, which confuses my brain. So he would spend a command point, and then he would give a shift after you calculate all of the attack ratios up, adding and subtracting and modifying everything. Then you can spend a command point. The German player can spend 1 command point for each of its headquarters, and then that would flip over to show that he's done for the turn. And then at the end of the turn, you flip all the headquarters back. The German player also has Naval Warfers. Let's see, I don't know if any of them are on the map yet. Where are the Naval Warfers? Good question. Where are they? No. I forget what they look like, so it's not helping. But they have a unit, the Woofer. Woofer Brigades. Woofer Brigade. Let's see. I can look for the symbol. What's the symbol for the... Oh, it's the arrow. Right, it's the arrow. That's why I'm all thrown off. So yeah, there we go. So this right there is a Woofer Brigade. And what this can do is, if this is within, I think it's 3 X's. Let me zoom back to my page here for my reference here. Why can't I find that information? Of course I can't. These units can be out of supply and still supply, I believe it's 3 hexes. I'll have to look. Hang on a second. Let me look. Alright, so I did find it. Must be non-disrupted and located within 3 hexes of the hex being attacked to provide with an artillery shift or defensive support. They can't, there's a bunch of other rules. They can't attack because they got the brackets, blah, blah, blah. So if this was, say, here, or no, well, that even works. 1, 2, 3. So within 3 hexes of it. So the most you can ever give is 2 column shifts for artillery to any attack. The German player can use a headquarter to give 1. They can also use a Woofer for 1. But let's say he had a... Can I copy this? No. Let's say we had another one of these. Oops. Come here, you. Give me another one. Give me another one. Where are you? They gotta have more than 1, don't they? We already used that one. Oh, here's one. There. All right. So let's say he had this setup. Again, you can only have 2. So the German player could use a headquarter and one of these Woofers. Or you could use both of the Woofers. Or, any combination thereof. If he had another headquarters, he could use the headquarters. The American player can call in artillery support with the headquarters, but each headquarters can actually do up to 2 artillery barrages. But that is part of the weather as well, which will restrict. You can see here, these are your... Let's see here. Naval units, air units. No, I want... I thought it was on the chart. Maybe not. Anywho. It is restricted, let's see here, by... So each Allied headquarter can provide up to 2 shifts in each combat at the cost of 1 supply point per shift. Each German headquarter can provide 1 artillery shift per battle at the cost of 1 supply point. In order for the German player to use 2 shifts, they're going to have to use either 2 headquarters, 2 Woofer units, or a combination thereof. Maybe I thought that weather affected how many combat. Pretty sure it. Yeah, exception. In storm turns, so in other words, if there's storm is the weather, right? You have 0. In storm turns, neither side may use more than 1 artillery shift per attack. So most you can ever get is 1. Again, kind of helping the Germans. So the worse the weather, the better it is for the Germans. I think that was everything I wanted to kind of cover. Again, the reason I decided to go do this ahead of time was, you can see there is some confusing, not really confusing to be honest, or not really confusing. It's just trying to explain the rules clearly and concisely when there's a lot of things to consider. You have to consider, the main attack force. You have to consider the terrain, the defensive bonuses, the what kind of shifts. So there's a lot that goes into combat. It's not just line up as many units as you can and get the best odds you can. It doesn't really work in this game, which I think is really, really brilliant. You have to choose main attack force. Other units are going to be halved. And then there's certain shifts that you can try to earn. The armor shift, the troop quality shift. Or, of course, if you're playing more, defensively, denying the combat shifts to your opponent. Getting your units into terrain that best suits them. So, for example, this unit here works just as good here as it does in the bocage, because he's not going to get any extra bonus by being in the bocage. This unit is not going to get any extra bonus by being in the woods. He's not going to get any extra bonus for being in the town hex. He'll get the same bonus as he will get in the mixed because of his attack factors. So if this unit is mixed with, say, something like this unit, right? Now all of a sudden this unit would get a much better bonus because this mechanized unit could actually take the full bonus. Oops, that's not what I wanted. The full bonus of this town. Oops, that's still not what I wanted. There we go. Thank you. So the town would actually give you a 5, right? 5 defensive bonus. So these 2 units in that hex are 6 plus 5 is 11 plus 2 for that other unit is 13. That's a pretty good total right there. So the attacker would have to come up with 26 points. But, if this unit was not stacked in there and you had all these other, say, 2 units in there, right? So you got a bunch of 2s in there. Then in the town, that unit works, even in the town, they're only going to get a bonus of 2 because that's the best their attack strength is. So there's a lot to really think about in this game. And I can see playing this several times and working through all these bonuses. There is naval support markers as well the American player can use. We didn't talk about those and the barrages, but they only go up to this dotted blue line. The attack has to be within that dotted blue line, which you can see kind of scatters along there. I believe that's the boundary line for the support markers. And then the Americans have 2 that'll help them, just Americans, and then there's 2 that are just for the British. And again, I think that's split up by this line right there. And of course, that's going to be determined by weather as well, because you can only have a maximum of one column or one artillery bonus to each of your attack. For defensively, it works a little bit differently. What you do defensively is, let's say, for example, let's just pull out a couple units here, move these aside. So the American's going to attack this German unit here. German unit doesn't have much of a chance, but we really don't want this unit retreating, because that's going to, let's just say these guys weren't here. That's going to let the Americans advance after combat and come right down here, and that's going to be all kinds of problems. So as a defender, you can do what they call a determined what's it called? Determined something and other. What's the word for it? Determined defense, of course, right. So the determined defense, you're going to roll in a chart to see what happens. And if you are the defender in this case, your artillery would go into supporting that unit in its determined defense. So if the American player chooses to attack, so the artillery is used for one of two things: to either help the attacker with his attack, or defensively to help the unit when it's putting up a determined defense. There's no sense in putting artillery into this attack when the American attacks, because it doesn't do anything. The only artillery that helps the defender is with a determined defense. So if these units are like, the American came in and did an attack, and one of these units got wiped off, and the other unit had to retreat through 2X's or 3X's or whatever, right? And the German player decides, let's put up a determined defense. That way he could use, say, the headquarters or the Woofers to help this unit get a better roll on the chart, which is probably not on here, but let's see. Is it on here? Here it is, determined defense. You can see if you add defensive support, gives you a +1. And you can only add 1 is your maximum. So you're adding defensive support through artillery, you get a +1, and you want to try to get as high as you can to get that determined. And of course, it matters on which terrain you're in. Strong point or city, improved position, other terrain, or flooded or clear, to help you, So this unit here, let's say he rolls a 6, he would get an AL result. +1 would take him to a 7. If he was, if he was in an other, we'll say that would be an exchange. But because the artillery helped him out, he would go to an AL. AL is any one attacking unit loses a step. So in this case, he made his determined defense with artillery support, and then one of these units is going to have to take, a step loss. So, and then he wouldn't have to, he could cancel the retreat, which, might be a good thing, because he doesn't want the American player rolling up on him like that. That would not be cool, right? So anyways, that's how combat works. You're going to get the odds ratio. You're going to assign first thing you're going to do is assign your main assault force. You're going to figure out the defender's defensive bonus. So these paratroopers with 4 attack strength in the bocage, right? And the bocage is a +3. So these guys are 4 and 4 is 8, +3 would be 11. You're going to figure out who the main assault force is. In this case, we're going to make a battle group here, and that's 6. These guys are half, so that's going to be another 2 and 1. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this is not a very good attack. 9 versus a whole bunch. 9 versus 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's a 1 to 2, right? And then this headquarters here, he's going to spend a supply point. That's what these things are called. I couldn't think of it. Spend a supply point. And he's going to shift that over with his artillery support. And if he had a Woofer over there, let's put a Woofer over there. Naval Woofer, or whatever. Let's say there's one here, right? It's within 3 X's, so he could supply another column shift. So it takes that 1 to 2, and he's going to bump it up to 2 to 1. Much better. And then he rolls the D6 and gets a 3, and that's a defender retreat. And then, based on what your result is, it's either going to be a DH, an attack 1, defender 2, a DR, an A1 D1, exchange, an A1 DR, or an A1. And then each of those have different things about them, but we'll go over that when we actually play. So in this case, because of the headquarters, which would flip over because he's done shot now, his artillery, he called in his artillery, so he can't do anything. And this guy doesn't flip over, but I think, do we mark him as used? I'll have to read up on that, but I think maybe, is there a marker? Marker. Yeah. Nope, I don't see one. It showed that he's used. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Anyways, that's how combat works. That's my interpretation. That's my help. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know a lot more than I do, but since I'm playing this, I'm trying to learn it the best I can. So if you see something I might have said wrong or did wrong, let me know. And we'll see you for the next episode where we actually get into German movement. And once the German movement's done, then, oh boy, all hell's going to break loose as we have combat. I'm probably going to mess up a bunch of these rules or forget things and screw it all up, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, y'all have a good time. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.